Life's curveballs can hit you hard, especially when you least expect it. Picture this, a snow-covered morning at the Hartwell estate home to all the luxury you'd ever dream of. But it wouldn't take long to realise that even riches can't shield you from life's fragility. Julian Hartwell, a self-made CEO worth millions, found himself staring into the face of vulnerability that day. His 78-year-old mother, Eleanor, a figure of unwavering strength in his life, was wandering aimlessly in the snow, her health faltering like a fading memory. But here's the twist. While Julian feared for his mother's safety, it would be a homeless woman named Maya Williams, driven by nothing more than instinct and compassion, who would bring the two of them together, setting off a chain of events destined to change everything. You see, Maya had her own battles to fight heartbreak and hard times marking her path. And as Julian saw this stranger holding his mother, his instinct was to assume the worst class privilege and misunderstanding colliding in that fragile moment. So what happens when the high-stakes world of wealth meets the raw, unyielding reality of life outside its walls? When unexpected hardships push the boundaries of familial bonds? Well, sometimes it takes a chance encounter, a serendipitous moment, to remind us what truly defines our legacy. I remember the day it all shattered into pieces, the day betrayal struck with the cold precision of a knife. It was a crisp afternoon, much like the day I first met Eleanor. The soft hum of the air conditioning barely masked the tension in the Hartwell estate, as I stood in the boardroom feeling the weight of their gazes boring into me. "We've decided to let you go, Maya." Julian's voice sliced through my thoughts, emotionless. Let me go. I could barely breathe, the disbelief wrapping around my throat like a vice. "You can't be serious. I've poured my heart into this place, into helping your mother. How can you just throw me out? I have to protect my family." He snapped a flash of something unreadable in his eyes. It was the same look I had seen when he first arrived, when he saw me clasping Eleanor in my arms. To him, I was nothing but a threat. A homeless woman pulling at the threads of his wealthy tapestry. And there it was. All those months of kindness washed away in a single breath, leaving behind a dry bitterness. I felt humiliated, a mere pawn in a game I hadn't even known I was playing. With every word he spoke, my anger grew, not just for the betrayal, but for the name-calling that echoed in my past, the laughter of others who thought I'd never rise above my circumstances. "You think you're protecting her?" I shouted. "What you're doing is abandoning her. Just because I don't wear a suit doesn't mean I don't care." Julian turned away, his resolve hardening. The door clicked shut behind him, but the heaviness of that moment lingered. I couldn't let this be the end. I'd been underestimated before, but I refused to be erased. I could feel the fire igniting within me. I wasn't just fighting for a job, now I was fighting for my worth, for the connection that had started with Eleanor, and lit a spark of hope in my heart. I had to uncover the truth, even if it meant standing alone against the tide. It feels like the universe took one look at Maya and said, "You think you're down? Hold my beer." After Eleanor was found, things escalated in ways I never expected. We're talking hurricanes, not just rainstorms. Julian, bless his heart, was in full protective mode, and I don't mean the gentle kind. No, he charged in like a bull at a china shop. There I was, still trembling with fear, and he was throwing accusations around like confetti at a parade. I mean, how do you put homeless woman and danger in the same sentence? But hey, sometimes people see what they want to see. And let's not even talk about my attempts to reach out. You ever try standing on the doorstep of luxury knocking politely only to have the door slammed in your face? Yeah, I found that out the hard way. Every time I managed to get a foot in the door, something or someone pushed me right back outside. Was it my just trying to help vibe, or the layers of privilege that suffocated every word I said? Honestly, who knows? But so much for letting that keep me down. I felt like an overcooked noodle, getting bent in every direction, and yet still somehow trying to hold my shape. And there were these small victories, like when Eleanor called me Lily, a name I hadn't heard in years. A spark of hope flickered in the dark. Here I was, stuck in a life that felt so small, and suddenly there was this connection that felt anything but small. It was the universe winking, reminding me that maybe things were not as hopeless as they seemed. And when Julian's uncle Richard threw his hat in the ring for Eleanor's fortune, it was game on. If I learned anything, it's that the stakes couldn't get higher without damn well risking it all. I was in way over my head, but I wasn't done fighting yet. Because even when the chips are down, sometimes all it takes is one ember to ignite a revolution. So yeah, the mess was real, but let's just say it was far from over. The walls felt like they were closing in. Heavy silence. Julian stood there, fists clenched, heart pounding. He glanced at his mother, fragile and vulnerable. Then at Maya, the stranger who had become an unwelcome storm in his orderly world. "What do you want from us?" he asked, desperation leaking from his voice. The weight of uncertainty pressed down. He was ready to push her away to protect his own. But then Maya met his eyes, raw, unfiltered. "Maybe I want to be seen, a spark, no longer just a homeless woman, but a person with a story." The air shifted. Julian's rage flickered. A fragile realization began to form. Wasn't he just as lost, living in a gilded cage, thinking wealth meant safety? But beneath the surface, a legacy of fear and control. He thought of his mother, the woman who had spent decades building an empire, yet here she was, stripped of everything, wandering in the winter snow. Maya took a step forward. "Your mother saved me too. Her kindness. It gave me hope." Those words hit him deep, echoing in the empty space of his heart. Was there more to this story than he knew, fingers trembling? Julian pulled out his phone, a lifeline, an opportunity. "Stay," he said barely above a whisper. "Help us understand." Hope flickered, a fragile flame emerging from the ashes of resentment. "Let's uncover the truth together." And just like that, they were no longer adversaries, but allies in a fight for something greater. For connection. For legacy. For healing. A world once overshadowed by fear, now illuminated by courage. Together, they would rise. Nothing could be the same again. Voice over. Script, revenge, resolution. The courtroom was filled with tension as Maya took her place on the stand, her heart pounding a cadence of courage and determination. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, illuminating the details of her truth. With a steadfast voice, she recounted the moment Eleanor had first slipped her hand into hers on that fateful winter morning, the warmth of that connection igniting her fight for justice. Each word was a testament to her spirit, a stark contrast to the cold, calculating demeanour of Richard, who squirmed in his seat, overwhelmed by the power of love that couldn't be drowned in greed. In the shadow of the judge's gavel, Maya's unwavering clarity shone through. She spoke of Eleanor's fleeting moments of lucidity, the piercing love in her eyes that called out to the family they had forged against all odds. In those moments, the courtroom transformed into a stage of resilience where the past interwove with the present, creating a narrative that demanded respect. The final blow came when Eleanor, with unshakable resolve, named Maya as her protector, her chosen family. Richard's facade shattered, his claims reduced to whispers in the face of undeniable truth. As the verdict echoed through the room, the weight of victory flooded Maya, like the dawn breaking after a long dark night. She glanced at Julian, who stood in disbelief, his expression shifting from skepticism to profound admiration. Their hands clasped in a firm shake that spoke volumes, sealing not only their triumph, but a bond that transcended wealth and status. A quiet smirk tugged at Maya's lips. This wasn't just a win. It was a reclamation of her identity, her place in a legacy. Yet, as they left the courtroom, the bright sunlight couldn't erase the scars they both carried. Instead, it illuminated them, each mark a testament to battles fought and lessons learned. They walked side by side, knowing that while success doesn't wash away the past, it deepens the meaning of every step forward. Each choice fueled not just by ambition, but by an understanding of the love that had always been worth fighting for. As the sun sets on the Hartwell estate, casting long shadows on the garden where Maya and Julian now stand, it's hard not to look back on this extraordinary journey, one that reshaped not just their lives, but the very foundation of what we consider family and legacy. Maya came from a place of struggle where trust was a scarce currency and survival meant embracing the raw edges of humanity. In Julian, we witnessed a man who at first wielded his privilege like a weapon driven by fear of vulnerability. Yet, through their intertwining paths, both characters learned that power is not simply about wealth. It's about the bonds we forge and the truths we champion. Their battle against Richard wasn't just about a court case. It became a revelation, a lesson on the weight of revenge and the power of forgiveness. The very notion of justice often divides us. Is it an eye for an eye, or is there strength in letting go? Can we truly heal when we cling to the desire for retribution? Was it Maya's courage, her unwavering commitment to truth that truly saved Eleanor? Or was it Julian's evolving understanding that unlocked the potential for love to transcend their differences? Consider this, is revenge ever justifiable, or does its pursuit merely extend our chains of suffering? Share your thoughts below. What legacies are we truly leaving behind, and at what cost? In a world often defined by conflict, let us strive instead for connection. In the end, it's love that endures. It's love that transforms. What are you willing to fight for?